YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back on Total War Rome 2, and this time it is going to be some Pontus versus Seleucid. Yeah, I didn't really know what kind of army to bring, so I just wanted to bring something different. We got 4 Thurio spears supporting 4 bronze shields, which are also going to be supported by a couple of Celtic warriors. We got 4 Persian light archers, 3 noble blood cav, 1 Pontic royal cav, and a citizen cav. And my setup is for my Thurio spears to shield my bronze shields from enemy skirmish fire, and also protect my eastern archers to some extent against enemy skirmish fire. At least try and make it more difficult for the enemy to skirmish with them. And then of course I'm protecting my mercenary Celtic warriors with Thurio spears. Now, not unexpectedly, my opponent has brought a chariot unit, and we'll see how these guys do in this battle. He's got a camel spearman for the fear effect. They also serve as decent light cav. And then he's got 2 Agema cav being supported by 2 Median cav. So Median cav is not as good as royal or noble blood cav, but they have good armor and, you know, decent stats for the cheap cav that they are. Their attack's not real great though. If you look at the noble blood cav, their attack's 6 higher, and it looks like the same armor as Median's. Yeah, same armor. Anyway, he's also got a lot of thorax swords, which is just good, solid infantry. So he's got 7 of them. So he's got flexible, solid infantry, enough to outflank my pikemen, which means that I'm going to have to badly damage his swordsmen in an attempt to even out the playing field. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. My Pontic royal cav is certainly capable of doing this if I can micromanage them right, and I'm keeping them near my bronze shields, because again, pikes aren't going to do you much good unless they have the proper support. So see here, I scoot up my Thurio spears. This is going to try and keep some distance between his slingers and my own men. I didn't want to throw any javelins at his slingers though, because they're so cheap, and I felt like my eastern archers could win this fight anyway. And I sure enough already have this unit wavering. But he's doing some pretty good damage to my units, slowly but surely here as well too. This one's taking some damage. So is that one. Anyway, this is going to force him to attack. This is what I want. So again, you can see my kind of protective barrier around my men here. But look at this eastern archer, barely taking any losses, and it's already wavering. Because it's losing current combat, is what it said. So I'm going to change my target. Start targeting some of his thorax swordsmen, but I'm going to go ahead and move back. I don't want his slingers to keep getting shots on me. And I'm going to move my Thurio spears back, just kind of collapse all my units back towards my pike line. My opponent's going to go ahead and outflank with cav. And momentarily, I'm just going to answer his outflanking. There's not really anything he can do to damage me at the moment with his cavalry. His chariots are my main concern, but I have Thurio spears around, and I'm feeling pretty good about my ability to defend against him. So I'm going to go ahead and charge behind my pikes. My opponent's not going to come frontally into my pikemen, even though I don't have him in pike phalanx. So I was going to see if I could trick him into go ahead and charge. And I'm just going to start focus firing here, and I'm going to charge in with my Pontic royal cav. My own pikemen, of course, broke up their charge and made it less effective, which unfortunate. Plus, I'm shooting my own archers in here. This is a mistake. So I'm hurting my own Pontic royal cav, and I left them in there a little too long. Right idea, just poor execution. My opponent now is going to be forced to skirmish all the way out and around. This is going to give me time to start throwing javelins and to start firing on his men. I've already killed 10 of these thorax swords. I charged his cav when he wasn't looking. We'll see how that fight goes for me. But again, see, forcing my opponent to come all the way around, outflanking, and I have units in his way. And I have my Thurio spears now getting ready to answer his incoming chariots. My Pontic royal cav gets a sweet rear charge here. Basically, I destroy this unit with archers, so he's already down 1 thorax swords, and this one is wavering. But he starts focusing his slinger fire and does really well. Gets a lot of kills against my Pontic royal cav. It's unfortunate for me. I should have done a little better job dealing with these slingers. Here comes his chariots, and I actually get a really nice volley of javelins off. So I mean, look at this, just spray javelins all over the chariots, but doesn't kill a single one of them. They pulled straight through the backs of their own men and through my infantry, and then through my Thurio spears, which are not really braced because they have their javelin fire on. Just wrecks that Thurio spear. Even more javelins. I finally kill 1 chariot though, but again, this is the pain in the butt of chariots. He just charged through the back of his own men, and it doesn't kill them, but it kills mine. It's just a goofy mechanic. Anyway, I'm going to get my pikes turned around to try and kill some of the chariots, and I almost succeeded, but my pikemen lifted their pikes, but they put them down shortly thereafterwards and basically kill the rest of the chariot. But look at that. Even through the backs of his own men, and shortly thereafter into a pikeman while under javelin fire, they get 220 kills. Chariots are just easy to use. I don't blame people for using them because they're so easy to use, but that's typically why I don't use them. Anyway, he's got some of his slingers left. I'm going to have to use my archers to finish them off. They're doing some damage. But at this point, I have basically all my pikes in the fight, and my cavalry is going to win on this flank. And my Pontic Royal Cav did enough damage that he has fewer swordsmen left. Now, his Agema Cav clearly wins that fight. I think that was my Citizen Cav. And my Noble Blood Cav is in a very close fight with this Median Cav, and I'm not sure why that is. I didn't watch this engagement, but I don't know why his Median Cav should be winning versus a Noble Blood Cav, unless, like, maybe he pulled away from an engagement or did something else like that. Anyway, my Thurio Spears did a good job of just holding this Thorax Swordsman for a while. And now my archers have pretty well dealt with his slingers. They have a little bit of ammo left, not a lot. My Cav's free, and over here I have a Thurio Spear holding up a couple of Thorax Swordsmen, and they're not going to be able to beat them quickly, so I bring a Pikeman in, and I'm going to start trying to box these guys in. So I'm going to put a box here, I have Thurio Spears from here, and that's going to leave this little perfect cone of entry here for my Cav, and I'm going to come in and do some nice rear charges here. This is all Noble Blood Cav, which is a fairly powerful melee Cav. But melee Cav is really, really sucky on the charge versus heavy infantry. This is one of the reasons why infantry builds are so popular right now, is because you have to have like a sword melee Cav like Aspis or Campanians to even have a prayer for this to work very well, and it still doesn't work well. But that's why I brought the shot Cav, but I did kind of squander it in this battle. Like, I didn't use it quite right. I had the right idea, but it was probably a little too early in the fight for me to do something like that. I should have waited until the fight broke up a little more and until I had his slingers under better control. Yeah, you can see it's going to cause a lot of damage. He lost another Thorax Sword. He's going to bring in his Agema Cav. I go into square formation right before he does. This is going to just make my Thurio Spears last a little bit longer still. And you can see that they hang into this fight even after the rear charge, and allow my pikes to keep doing some killing. Only 12 kills though, because sometimes pikes push really good and sometimes they suck. Really, you just got to spam attack orders with them to get them to push properly, but that's pretty annoying and it takes a lot of micro. They really need to have a function on them called Advance and then another called Guard. If you push Guard, they sit here like idiots just like this. If you push Advance, they just slowly keep pushing on the enemy like it's a constant attack order. If they would put those in there, it'd be great. So I'm going to try and get rid of this Agema Cav. It does get a decent charge though. That's a Noble Blood Cav. It's going to do well in a grind out fight. And then out here again, he's just going to be wasting time with this Thorax Swords. He really needs his Thorax Swordsman up here to try and outmaneuver my pikes. But as you can see, he doesn't have enough Thorax Swords here, and I'm able to pin him in from both sides and then keep him off my flank with this other bronze shield. So see how I can keep those guys off my flank, and then I just put these archers out here just to make him worry. Yeah, and his Median Cav here is going to die. Median Cav, whatever you want to call it. And his Agema Cav is not doing super well either in the grind out fight. And then these pikemen are killing these Thorax Swords. My opponent hasn't thought to pull them away from these pikemen yet. He really should have pulled them away over into this Cav fight, because my pikemen would have had a hard time pursuing him, and then I would have had to retreat my Cav, and I would have taken more losses. This is a pretty close fight, and something small like that can make a big difference. Again, put this Thorax, or Thurio Spears into square formation just to give them a boost of morale and help them last longer. And then this Thurio Spears has just a few javelins left, and so I'm going to put it behind these Thorax Swords and let them throw those javelins. But this one will be dead in just a minute, so I'm going to try and get what few kills I can. And again, my opponent's outnumbered over here, so his biggest problem versus my pikes is that he's been outnumbered by them in all these small engagements. And even when he gets charges like this, he's going to kill some of my pikemen, but the bronze shields are pretty decent stats, and they're going to be able to hold out okay. And then look, I'm just going to outflank him, so now there's really not a whole lot of retreat except for right here, and it's going to make it tricky for him, so I'm going to try and plug it up with more pikemen and cav. Again, this unit, only one kill in this unit, that's terrible. But whatever, again, they're keeping these Thorax Swords busy. This Thorax Swordsman has 135 kills and no losses, so that's really cost-effective unit for my opponent. Again, see him trying to pull out, but it's just getting a whole bunch of his swordsmen killed, and it's causing them to waver because they're attacked from behind and taking losses. About to get outflanked again. So again, my opponent keeps doing this, but I've got him outnumbered, and he just can't fight against this kind of thing. Over here, I kind of feint and charge with my cav, make him think I'm going to get in there. But even after all this surrounding, look, I leave a little hole here, and my opponent's going to try and get through that hole as well. So he's going to keep pulling away from this fight. And then, miraculously for him, his Thorax Swords don't rout here. I should have followed it up with a charge cav right here. That would have probably routed them because they were unbraced. That's all good. I'm feeling pretty confident about my ability to finish this one off. I just wanted to get a quick rear charge on these thorax swords. But that was not a good move. I should have just kept my cavalry separate of that fight. They really didn't do any damage. And then I have to pull them through, which is going to make me take some more losses and probably cause my guys to waver because they'll get the attack to the rear penalty. So I almost lose my noble blood cap here, which is a big mistake. My opponent's still got these 2 thorax swords units. I have 4 bronze shields, and I could easily just box up and try and force him to attack me, but I'm going to surround him. I don't mind being aggressive with the pikes in this particular situation, so that's what I'm going to do. And you're going to see me continue to pursue my opponent's infantry and just try and box him in with my pikemen. The pikes can get their pikes down relatively quick. It's not going to be easy for my opponent to fight his way out of this, and I'm going to keep my cavalry. He wants to charge them and get them out of the fight. Again, he's going to want to push towards my cavalry, punch through them before my pikes can catch up and do any damage. So you're going to see him be very wary of my cavalry. And he's going to keep trying to pull away from the fight with my pikes and try and get a more favorable engagement, which is fine. He should. And look here, he does get one. But again, I can get pikes down, and without my men in formation attack, they'll be more likely to get pikes pointed in the direction of the enemy than otherwise. And again, just a quick charge into his unbraced swordsman, got quite a few kills, and then I'm going to take my pikeman out of pike formation and just charge him to try and fix him in position. And I just rallied my men to make sure that they don't waver. This is going to help big time because my noble blood cav is upset over its losses. And now my opponent is completely fixed, and I'm just going to charge in. And then my men are going to try and reform into pike phalanx, and that's pretty much all it took. His guys are going to rout now at this point, so a very close battle. And actually, if you look at it, my opponent brought a smaller army than I did, so he got more kills than I did, but a big piece of it was from the chariots. If you look at the rest of his units, he had 2 thorax swordsmen that did pretty darn well, all things considered, and then he had this Agema cav that also did well. Chariots, again, I'm not a big fan of them in their current state, nor elephants for that matter. Not because I think elephants are overpowered. I do think chariots are a little too easy to use. They're not like OP to the point where it ruins the game, I don't think, but they're too easy to, well, I mean, as long as they're limited to 1, I have no issue with them. Elephants are a little too easy to kill, I guess. I'm fine with them being fairly easy to kill, actually. I think that because they added javelins and fire at will on all the infantry, it does make them very difficult to use. So I don't know what you would do to fix elephants. I think the one thing that I know about both of them, and I say fix them, they're okay right now. You just have to know when to use them. So I'm okay with them. I think that one of the things that's probably going to have to be looked at is the fact that all infantry builds are kind of becoming a little bit dominant here. I say a little bit. They're not unbeatable, and they're not ruining the game for me, but a lot of people are bringing all infantry builds, and there are some all infantry builds that are very, very difficult to beat in the hands of the right player. Now, in the hands of folks who don't know how to use them, yes, you're going to get beat. And all infantry builds, typically the logical counter there would probably be just a crap freak load of chariots, like 4 of them, which I think is what you can bring, and then just some token other units to fix them. Now, that's spam too, though, and no one likes that. So I think the idea is that all of us always hope that the game will be at a point where people won't want to spam, but I'll tell you the #1 cause of spam right now, and it's this, a leaderboard. This is your problem. This is why spam happens. Yes, it happens some anyway. I mean, Rome 1 didn't have a leaderboard, and some people would spam. But in my mind, this is one of the factors why spam happens. Like, look at me, and I don't know who this guy is. I'm just using this like as an example. This guy may be totally cool, but I'm just saying, like, look at me, I'm IFQ, I'm on top of the leaderboard. Oh yeah, everybody else sucks. I rule. And then like, look at this right here. Wins, 85,000 wins. Like, that's not hacked or screwed up or something. Like, the leaderboard, in my opinion, is one of the things that makes so much of this stuff screwed up. Because there's a leaderboard, that means someone wants to be on top of it. In order to be on top of it, they have to win. If you can't win by skill alone, you're going to find another way to win, which means exploiting the game and other players. And you don't really care that those players might be on the game trying to enjoy it. You're here to win it and get your name on the leaderboard. That's one of the things I don't like. Now, is the leaderboard, again, the sole cause of this type of behavior? No, it's been in Total War since before leaderboards, but the leaderboard doesn't help it. it kind of exacerbates it. Plus, the leaderboard never really works right. So I don't understand the point of it. They should just get rid of it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why we don't need a leaderboard. It doesn't make any difference. Just give players a stat screen that shows them how many battles they've won, and maybe have like a little number that, you know, there's like got numbers like how many units you've killed in battles and all this other stuff. But I mean, leaderboard's pointless. The only good information here is it tells you how many wins you have. But again, if this guy has 85,000 wins, that's insane. I don't even know if that's possible. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out to you as far as discussion goes. But my advice to y'all would be, it's fun. Go in the game, explore it, have a good time. If you're looking to steer clear of spam, your best bet is to steer clear of quick battles, because that's the nature of ranked battles. People will do what it takes to win. They don't care if you're going to enjoy the game or not, and they could really care less, because it's going to be what you do to win. Now, does that characterize every player who enjoys quick battle? No. I'm just telling you, if you're going to go play quick battle, be prepared for it, because you're going to see it. And it's going to happen, and there's pretty much no way to stop it. Now, as far as having fun battles in Rome 2, I think it's fun to kind of have like etiquette rules that you impose on each other, or scenarios, and go play those on the multiplayer battle list. So if you're looking for something that maybe makes the game a little different, that's usually the way to go. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed the discussion. Leave your own thoughts. Again, not trying to bash people who are on the leaderboard, or who legitimately try and work their way up it by winning battles legitimately. Again, that's not where that's going. I'm just saying that the existence of a leaderboard forces people to do things that they otherwise might not, just because it'd be cool to see my name on there, if that makes any sense. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.